What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Candyman here. On today's episode, we're going to talk about seeds and germinating seeds and popping seeds like a pro. So, what I did is I have an order. Basically, somebody had called up and said, "Hey, man, I need you to breed me a strain. Would you do it for me?" Well, hell yeah, we'll do it. What do you want to do? And they want to do SoCal Master Kush from the BC Bud Depot or the BCC Depot crossed with King's Candy. And we're like, hell yeah, let's do that. I had seen the SoCal Master Kush from them before, and it actually looked pretty good. So I was like, yeah, dude, let's do that. Well, here's the thing. I ordered seeds. I actually ordered two strains from them, and they both came in, and the SoCal Master Kush seeds were white. Premature white. Every single one of them. None of them even passed the finger test. But the other strain I ordered from them for a different breed I'm doing had a 100% germination rate. So it's not always the seed bank itself. It could be whoever's breeding the seeds for the seed bank. And if they're prepackaged, the bank will never even look at the seeds. And in this instance, I don't think that the breeder sent them bad seeds. I think it was basically sitting on the shelves too long, and they just basically went dry. And that's when they start turning white and all that other stuff if they're not premature right off the plant. So I hit them up and I told them, hey guys, can you send me out another seed pack or whatnot? I had issues with this one. And they were like, oh yeah, man, no problem. Like 3 weeks later, I got them in the mail, and the seed bank's literally like 2 hours from my house, and it took them like 3 weeks to get it to me, but I got it. And I opened them up, said, damn it, they're the same freaking seeds. Because when I had talked to them, I talked to a supervisor, and I specifically said, hey man, if you're going to send me out a repack, can you visually, or have whoever's pulling the shipments and placing the orders and shipping them out, can you please have them double check the seed pack and make sure it's viable? And he said, yeah, no problem. And when they came in, no, he didn't check them. They were the same exact thing. And at this point, it was 32 seeds that I'd gotten from them that were all white and bad. So I said, you know what, screw it. I'm going to throw them in basically a shot glass of water for 24 hours and throw them in the paper towel. It's how I've been doing it for 15 years. And I have a really, really, really good germination rate, unless the seeds are just straight up bad, and there's nothing you can do at that point. So I basically germinated those, or tried to. Not one of them germinated. Not one of them. Out of 32 seeds, not one of them popped a root. So I hit them back up, and I said, hey man, and for me, it's kind of embarrassing having to hit somebody up and say, hey, I got 30 seeds from you guys and not one of them popped, because that makes you sound like a bad grower, like you don't know what the hell you're doing. But that's not always the case. So I talked to their supervisor, and their supervisor was like, hey man, yeah, I'm sorry about that issue. Let me see what I can do. I'll call you back in a half hour. Well, 4 days go by, and I hadn't heard back from them. So I called him back. Nobody would answer. Nobody would return my call. So I waited another 4 days. Nobody would return my call. So I started calling in every day. And finally, somebody picked up, and they were like, hey man, I'm super sorry. Let me see what I can do about it. I'll hit you back up today. Well, 4 days go by again, and I didn't hear nobody. And this is starting to be a reoccurring thing with these guys, and I'm starting to get aggravated. And I'm like, yeah, I'm to the point where I'm like, you know what? Fuck this strain. I don't need anything to do with this shit. I'm just going to take it as a loss and move on, because it's just too much stress. And then they called me back out of nowhere, like 3 weeks later, and they finally said, hey man, there's nothing we can do. You can buy you can pay for another seed pack, and we'll see what we can do, or we'll give you 50% off another strain. And I was like, well, I'm not really looking for another strain. I need this strain. But if there's nothing you guys can do about it, can you like just maybe when you get a new batch from the breeder, a fresh batch, can you give me a call, and I'll be the first one on that list to order them. And they were like, yeah. And they started being kind of rude and making me feel like it's something that I had done, or I was trying to get over on them and screw them and all that. And finally, I just told the dude, you know what? Never mind. Don't worry about it. I don't need nothing from you guys. I'll just let you guys go. And then the guy happened to come back and be like, well, you got the 3 seed packs, right? And I'm like, no, I only got 2 from you guys, not counting that second strain that I got. But counting that second strain, technically it would be 3 seed packs. And he goes, no, you don't. You have actually 4 seed packs. And he checked the tracking, and it was literally going to be at my house today. And he was like, hey man, we actually sent you out a 3rd pack. And I had no clue they sent me out a 3rd pack. Nobody made contact with me and said, hey, we're sending you out of the pack. So I assumed that they just brain farted on it. They thought I was harassing them because I hadn't got informed or checked tracking or anything like that. So they thought, and it was just horrible. And after I found out that they had sent that 3rd seed pack and it just hadn't showed up yet, I felt like shit. I apologized to him. I said, hey man, I'm sorry, fucking, this has just been hectic. It seems like it's the impossible happening again. And they laughed. They said, oh, no worries, man, sorry we didn't do our job. And they felt bad because nobody had made contact and let me know what was going on. So all that being said, SoCal Master Kush 12 seeds. And we're going to go ahead and open them up right here, right now. Pop the seal. Do. Kind of hard to do this through the camera, but you guys will get the point. So these ones look a little better. But guys, genetics are everything. If you pop seeds from a weak strain or something, in this case where we're trying to get away from, you're going to get weak genetics. And what weak genetics is going to do is give you weak strains which are constantly foxtailing. I know some of that's genetic, but some of it is genetic from being from a weak genetic, and hermaphrodites is exactly what we're trying to get away from. We don't want nothing to do with hermaphrodites. We want strong, stable genetics. So some of those look actually pretty good. I can see 2 off the get-go that look white. That one looks white. That one's okay. That one's pretty white. I know they don't look like it here. Let me see if I can. No, they actually look pretty brown on camera, but they're not. They don't have no tiger stripes on them. Nothing going on like that. None of the good stuff that you're typically looking for. So the way we're going to do this is like the way we do it with everywhere else. All the other strains we do, all the strains that I breed, all my award-winning strains, they're all done just like this. And basically what we're going to do, we got basically RO water, pH to 6.5, and we're going to basically take these seeds, and normally I would literally, out of a 12 pack like this, I would do like 3 or 4 seeds and basically do a pheno hunt off of that. But these seeds I know have issues, and I don't want to do 2 or 3 and then them not pop and then do another 2 or 3. So we're just going to do them all off the get-go and see what they do. So what you want to do, throw them in the water. Throw all of them in the water. Make sure your hands are clean. And basically we're going to let them sit there for 24 hours in the dark overnight. And we're going to come back in 24 hours and we're going to basically put them in a wet paper towel, and I'll show you what we're going to do at that point. But at this point, all we're doing is taking them right out of the seed pack, putting them in a shot glass of water. And if you don't have RO water, tap water will work just as good. Just get some water in there And what you're wanting to basically do is take moisture back into the seeds because they're so dry, and it's going to help the germination rate. So if these seeds are going to pop, this is how they're going to do it. And if they don't pop, well, that just goes to show that, hey, we got another bunk strain, or not bunk strain, but bunk seeds from BC Seed Depot, and it just is what it is, man. We're not hating on nobody. Those guys actually did me pretty good, sending me out 3 seed packs when they didn't have to. But it's just to show you guys it's a gamble. It really is, because a lot of guys out there don't have an established name, so they can't, like, a lot of seed banks will kind of work with you if you're somewhat established, but if you're not established and you don't have a name to back you, you can really have to basically pull hair to get another seed pack. And these guys sent me out 3. So, and I've seen other strains from them, including the other strain that I got that did really well. And I know the other strain that I got, I've seen the flowers from that strain, and they are really fire too. And every single one of those popped. So it's not the seed bank, it's the seeds themselves. And that seed bank isn't taken care of by one breeder. There's multiple breeders at that seed bank, and that goes with every single seed bank. So keep that in mind. If you get a bad seed, that doesn't mean, or if you get a bad seed pack, that doesn't mean all their packs are bad. That just means there might be an issue with that one specific strain, which I think is in the case of this strain right here. So I'm gonna basically turn the lights off, keep them in a cool, warm. I know, right? Cool, warm. Ha ha ha. I don't know, 85-ish, 85 to 80 degrees in the dark for 24 hours, and then we're gonna come back and we're going to put them in a wet paper towel for another 24 hours. So we'll see you guys in 24 hours. Stay tuned. What's up, guys? It's 24 hours later. The seeds did drop. They sunk to the bottom of the water. One of them did not sink, and I know you can't really tell, but it's hollow. That seed is hollow. There's actually, you can actually see through it. So what we're gonna do next is put them in a wet paper towel, put them in the Ziploc bag, and then seal them up and put them back in darkness for another 24 hours to 48 hours, depending on what the seeds are going to do. But typically it takes about 24 hours. Anything more than like 3 days pretty much is going to be a weak seed, which will create weak genetics, which will create things like hermaphroditing and stuff like that. So if these things pop in like 5 days, we don't want them to begin with. If they pop in like 24 hours, 2-3 days, that's okay. Anything past that, we're not even going to keep. We don't even want. But honestly, I don't even think they're going to pop at that rate, from what I'm seeing. Yes, the seeds did turn dark because they were sitting in water, but they weren't. There was a couple of them that were like a light tan color, and those were the darkest ones. The rest of them were white. Maybe 3 or 4 of them were like a tan color that were darker than the white seeds, but that's still not a healthy, viable seed to most growers and breeders. Most breeders would see this, or somebody who's got their shit together will see these kind of seeds, and they would like not want nothing to do with it. They wouldn't even waste their time popping it or putting these kind of strains in their farms. But since we're wanting this strain, we're going to hope and pray that it does pop and everything's fine and everything's dandy and we can move forward. So from this point, we're going to go ahead and throw them, like I said, in a wet paper towel, put them in a Ziploc bag, put them back in the darkness for 24 hours, and we'll come back and see what's up. So I'll get back to you after I put them in a wet paper towel. All right, guys. Wet paper towel, Ziploc bag, wet. Going to go ahead and toss these into the dark for 24 hours, and we'll get back to you and see what they're doing about that point. So This is not a tutorial on how to do this. I will go into detail on another video on exactly how to germinate seeds and pop seeds. This is just kind of to show you guys that the seedling process and popping seeds doesn't always go to plan, and it's not always your fault. This is just kind of a conversation with you guys and talk about some things that are pretty important in the industry, and just videotaping it along the way to kind of give us something to do while we're talking. So don't worry about a tutorial. I know a lot of guys are going to be like, well, you didn't show us every little thing. Well, that's because it's not a tutorial. I will be dropping one of those videos too here real shortly. So hang out with us, be patient, let's check this out, and let's see what these seeds do. Alright guys, see you in 24 hours. What's up YouTube? We're back 24 hours later, and not one of them cracked. Not really surprising. I can pretty much guarantee you that these seed packs came out of a bad batch. I can almost guarantee you also I'm not the only one that this is happening to with this strain, even though that they want to play dumb. Yeah, that's horrible. So they went 24 hours in water, and then now they're 24 hours in a wet napkin in a Ziploc, and not one of them is cracked. So we're gonna put them back in there for another 24 hours just to see what happens, but I'll get back to you in another 24 hours. What's up YouTube? Alright, we're back. Not 24 hours later, but 3 days later. And this has been a total of 5 days sitting in a wet paper towel, and absolutely nothing has happened. So this is definitely a bad batch of seeds. Again, the third one in a row. So like I was saying before guys, just be careful. I mean, there's not really much you can do. If the seeds are good, even if you're not good at popping seeds, or this is like your first time doing seeds or whatnot, even if it is your first time, even if you don't have a high successful rate, you're still going to pop at least 2 or 3 of them, especially in the wet paper towel method, because this is like the easiest way to do it, and it basically like dumbifies everything, so anybody can do it. So if you're doing this and this happens to you, don't be too hard on yourself. Don't let this sour your taste in growing. Don't let this sour anything as far as your abilities, or what you think you can do or what you can't do. Just get a hold of the company, maybe find a different strain, or even find a different seed bank. But I don't think it's the seed bank's fault that this happened, other than maybe their way of storing their seeds might have had a hand in how this worked out. But for the most part, the seed banks aren't the ones doing the breedings. Typically it's breeders, and then breeders send in their seeds to all these seed banks, and the seed banks just sell them to the public. So like I said, I got a different strain from the same exact seed bank, and every single one of them popped. Every one of them popped. And then I got 40 seeds from the same exact seed bank of a different strain, and out of 40 seeds, not one of them popped. So it's not always your fault, man, but chances are the seed bank isn't going to do anything about this. So sadly, we're just going to chop this up as a loss. Basically the seed bank got a donation of $100. Good for them. I hope this helped out. I hope not everybody is gonna have these issues, because this doesn't happen all the time. It's not like something that you gotta watch out for. But when it does, if it does happen, don't be too hard on yourself. Just get a different strain and try again. And if you have your heart set on this strain, just find out when the seed bank is going to get a fresh batch in from the breeder, and get it packed in. So, like always, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Nothing special here. This was actually a big fail, and I kind of knew it was going to do it, but I wanted to bring you guys along the process and along the way to show you guys how shit happens. It's not always your fault. Nothing you can do about it other than just keep trying, man. Go to a different, like I said, go to a different seed bank, try a different strain, whatnot, because this is not going to happen very often. This is really, really sad that this happens, but hey, not much you can do about it. So hope everybody has a great day, and I will be dropping a tutorial on how to germinate seeds, and that'll be fun. So until then, later, guys.